Hi, this is Kim Cook from Bread of Life Mission. We're back, and I have a Pioneer Square neighbor here, Renee Votter. And Renee and I met this October and became fast friends. And Renee, you live right here in Pioneer Square. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you're seeing of the homeless crisis and just whatever thoughts you have, whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Kim. And I have been in Pioneer Square for 20 years, or a little over. But it's hard for me to say what I'm seeing now without the context of what I used to see.
Right.
And I think when we first came to Pioneer Square, there were people who were living unsheltered outside. I think probably most of them were recognizable, like you'd see them on a regular basis, and they'd maybe ask for money, but they were also very friendly and weren't necessarily scary. They were just a part of the neighborhood, and I think it was something we all wanted to live together and try to help support the community. So, but I think the last few years we've seen a big shift from some regular people who had services, like your mission that has done a great job taking care of people, to people who really are more transient. I mean, I feel like we don't really know where they're come from. We don't know how long we'll see them in the neighborhood. They don't seem to have a place to go on a regular basis. Like they're always kind of searching for help, but not necessarily even aware maybe that they need help. And so it's hard. It's hard to see people living in the conditions in our neighborhood, which, is a beautiful historic neighborhood in downtown Seattle, first neighborhood in Seattle. But it's always been Skid Row, right?
Right.
So, I think it's part of our vibe is that we have all kinds of diversity in the neighborhood, all kinds of people in the neighborhood doing all kinds of things. But there's clearly a need to help people find housing, find sobriety, help with any traumatic situations and disorders that are going on. So I think, I don't know, I guess I'm riffing.
You're seeing more of that. You're seeing more of that on the street, more mental illness, more drug use than you did before.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's definitely been a lot more visible each year. I feel like this year we're seeing maybe some stabilization happening, and we're seeing a lot, the city trying to get more involved. But it's definitely increased.
Do you have any sense of what things the city has put in place that's actually helping here in Pioneer Square?
So one of the things, a couple of my friends and I started a group called Circle the Square last year, and so we're a neighborhood walk, and we basically go out a couple days a week, make connections in the neighborhood. We try to help our local businesses. We do some graffiti cleanup or pick
We
up.
have a wall for you.
Yeah, yes, I've seen that wall. I'm not sure our
can't
wipes.
stay
We
on
don't have
top of
wipes
it.
for that one, but I appreciate that you keep trying. But we're really just trying to ensure that people in the neighborhood know we care, and that
Right.
if we can make connections, we will. And so I would say a couple of connections that we work with regularly that I think add a ton of value. One is the Metropolitan Improvement District, or what's lovingly called the MID. They have a team of people out of the Downtown Seattle Association that they have a clean team, so they're constantly out in the neighborhood and out in downtown Seattle, just cleaning up.
They were cleaning our
everything.
sidewalks this morning.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. And you can call them or send them an
Yeah.
email or a text, and they will, come address the situation. And so I know that's a big value to the city. And then the Seattle Care Team, I think, that started about a year ago, and we have some members from that team come walk with us regularly, and to see the outreach that they do and how they're trying to help people get connected to services or to some way to help them with their immediate need as well as potentially, the longer term need. And I learn something new every time they walk with us about what that might look like. Most recently, I found out they had bus tickets. So if somebody just needed help getting, someplace safe or someplace outside of Seattle, like in King County, then they can give them bus tickets to help them get there. So it's not just,
Right.
some hand warmers and a granola bar. But
Yeah. Renee, having lived here a long time, I know that, I'm new to the area, but I've heard people say that live outside of Seattle, oh, I don't go downtown for anything. Like, it's not safe or whatever. You're saying that you're seeing more on the streets, but can you address that? Like, is it safe here in Pioneer Square?
it's definitely safe in Pioneer Square. I think, I think it kind of goes back to, we've always had that reputation of being a little bit gritty or, being the place. But if you look at the numbers, if you look at the data, and Pioneer Square doesn't have any more crime than, other neighborhoods in downtown Seattle. I think and there's probably less. I didn't check those stats, so I won't. Don't quote me.
Don't quote you on that, right?
But, we have a lot going on. So there's always people, out and about, whether it's for some of our events that happen down by the stadiums or hanging out in our parks. Businesses coming back. We continue to keep opening more and more businesses here. And so, I would say come check us out.
Yeah.
Don't just read, somebody's blog or somebody's news article, but come downtown and see. I mean, the lighting program that we do for the holidays is amazing.
It's beautiful.
Great Instagram moment.
Yeah.
So, and I think, we're working really hard to be welcoming and to have people want to be here. We see tons and tons of visitors in the summer from the waterfront. I mean, if you haven't come down to see
It's beautiful.
the improvements to the neighborhood just to get us connected to the waterfront, you are missing out. We have the best free views anywhere in the city.
I just am astounded by the views every morning when I come into work. On top of that, there's great restaurants. There's lots of art down here.
Yeah.
I would just encourage people who have stayed away from the city for a while, come down. Come down and do something.
Definitely.
And, it can't hurt to see the problem, but also invest in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the homeless thing, though, and what we're seeing on the streets. What still needs to be done, do you think?
Well, I mean, I think it's, obviously if it was simple, it would be figured out by now. So we know it's not simple. I think a lot of the work has been figuring out housing. And I think we all know, or, we've really learned anyway, that without housing, people will struggle. They need a warm bed. They need an address. They need get connected and stable so that they can continue to heal and move in the right direction. So I think, the work around that, but I think under that layer is still the challenges of people working together. Like, I think if we could get all of the organizations really thinking holistically about, like, what part can they play towards a common goal, we would move faster and with more cohesion. I think there's, dysfunction to me is maybe too harsh of a word, but until there's a shared goal, it's really hard.
There's a lot of silos.
To get the traction that we could. And I think, we're a group of people out in Seattle that we want that traction. It's just maybe we haven't really figured out how to work together to get there, with maybe some differing views. So
one of the problems that we have in Pioneer Square is bathrooms.
Huge.
What do you want to say about that?
Oh my gosh, that to me is just a human, like, part of humanness. I mean, we know we have to use a bathroom. And the fact that we do not have readily accessible restrooms in most of Seattle. I mean, they are hard to find and come by. Public restrooms,
that anybody can walk in and use.
Anybody can walk in and use. We are building one on the waterfront, so that will be open, hopefully in the next few months. I don't have the dates on that. But yeah, I mean, I think that is a huge, and there was an article recently, I think it was in the Seattle Times last year, that talked about what a deficit just bathrooms are. And so we're putting people in the position where they they're not being treated like a human when your basic need cannot be met in a city that has a lot of money.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've been to Skid Row in LA before, and I saw things I never thought I'd see in America. And I'm seeing some of those things here in Seattle. I kind of joke when I'm walking on the sidewalks here. I say, "Why is it wet?" Why is it wet?
Yeah.
And I don't just walk in puddles.
You don't think it's from the rain? Because it rains here all the time.
If it's not raining, I'm cautious.
It's actually raining right now.
Let's just say I'm cautious. And, at first I was like, how could people do that? People are defecating on our sidewalks. And on the one hand, if you don't care about the people, we need to care about our society, because we're going to have problems. We're going to have illness because it's on our sidewalks. So, we have to do something. It's not just a human right. It's health in our society.
Yeah.
It's human decency. And so if we don't want that to happen in our city, we need to provide something.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the answer is. We're just here to talk about the problems.
Right,
But that is
right.
definitely one thing that has to happen. It has to change.
Sometimes I 100% agree with you. I think that the lack of public restrooms in our city is a huge challenge. I've been in Seattle for about 30 years, but to me it's also like, did we just move too fast? Like, we didn't stop and think about, like, what does growing at a fast rate, what is that going to mean to some of those basic needs that a community has? Because even I have a restroom in my home, but when I go on a 2-hour walk, it would be really great to not have to wait that long, right? So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's just something we need to look at. And I will tell you, we sometimes take the light rail to the airport when we're traveling, and the elevator in near the International District, that stop, it's terrible. It really is terrible, and it's being used as a toilet.
Yeah.
And so, we're going through there, we're rolling our luggage. It's just not something that I expect to have happen in a first world country. Yeah. So, definitely something that we need to work on.
Yes,
what else would you like to tell people?
Gosh, well, I love what you already said about, come to Pioneer Square. If you haven't been to Pioneer Square lately, come check us out. There is a lot of good stuff. You can do almost anything here. Like you said, arts, jazz, music, great restaurants, all that stuff. And the events are cool.
I want to ask you one more thing. I know I'm getting a 1-minute sign, but I want to ask you something else. You said that Pioneer Square's always been gritty.
Yeah.
And I've heard that they really do want to make sure there's a place here for places like Bread of Life. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, I don't think Bread of Life is gritty. I don't think Bread of Life is gritty. When I say gritty, I'm thinking history, right?
Right.
This was where the first tent city was, in
right.
Seattle.
Well, I think this was a brothel in the day.
Yeah, every building was a brothel or some kind of a gambling. But fortunately, those are gone, so don't come down here for that. But I have a great respect for the work that you do, and just like we were joking about the graffiti on the side of the building. After Kim, after you came here and took the role of CEO for the mission, I noticed a change pretty quickly about how the people that are your clients are being treated. I don't see lines outside very often at all anymore. I know that you're doing a fabulous job taking care of them, and I think that's beautiful. And so I want you as my neighbor, right?
Thank
like
you.
I think, my friend Grace and I talk about this all the time. How, we don't want to be NIMBY. Like, that is one of our goals, is to not come across as like not in our. We know it needs to be done, but not in our backyard. Like, we're okay, and we want to live cohesively and. Together with everyone, but we want to make sure that they're also being taken care of well. Right. So it's kind of like, how do you do both?
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I like being your
you.
neighbor too. So thanks. Okay, we are going to. What's that? We're going to take a very short break.